Hi, everybody. Just kidding. So here's how I want this mastermind and every mastermind after this to go. So I've been paying attention to, I've been listening to a lot of calls and being a part of different mastermind groups and talking to all of you. And one of the things that I am noticing is we are very easily inspired and we get motivated fairly easily, whether it be through a mastermind group, whether it be through a one-on-one, whether it be through personal development. If you just listen to a killer YouTube video or whatever, and then we're all fired up, and then when it's over, we go back to our daily life, and nothing really happens. And so here's what I want to have change. All of you are going to put together amazing mastermind calls. And I'm convinced that between all of us on the call, we are going to come up with something that's going to inspire you, or something that you will want to try during the week, or something that you want to implement. What I want you to do is I want you to write that down. And then at the end of the call, I want you guys to go to our Mastermind Facebook page and type out to so everybody can see what you're going to do this week in regards to what you just learned on the mastermind call. And then we're going to keep each other accountable. At the beginning of next week's call, we're going to take the first 5 minutes to discuss what you learned and over the week when you implemented this new thing this new goal, this new strategy, this new idea. And then we're kind of just go around the room, talk about how the week went in regards to what you just learned. So in this way, we can keep each other accountable, and we can actually do the things that we felt inspired to do. Any questions about this? No? Good. So Megan, no, not to put any stress or extra pressure on you, but this is our first call where we want to be inspired. And I do need to say this as well. I do want participation. I do want you guys chiming in. I want you guys, Megan is going to give us some awesome points here, but all of us together are better than the one. And so make sure you guys chime in if you have questions. And then, like I said, write notes, whatever pops in your mind, like, oh, you know what, I would love to try that. Oh, I have a question about that. Write it down. Let's post about it, and we'll go from there. So, all right. Looks like we are not going to have anybody else join us. So, Megan, you're up.
Okay. So I actually, when Kevin messaged me a couple days ago and was like, you're going first, and here's your topic, I was like, oh my God, that is the worst topic. I never would have picked that, is like what went through my head. But I'm kind of glad that he gave it to me, because it's definitely something that I want to work on. And it's something that, like he just said, like, I've been thinking, and like learning, and reading on how to make this better, but I haven't really been like implementing it. So this is forcing me to now implement it. So first off, as far as like raising up leaders, John Maxwell's The 21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership is like the best personal development book that you could possibly get. It's actually right here. I can grab it. This is it. This is like the best book ever. And I normally don't read an actual book. I listen. But it's like a bunch of little short stories. Like each law is like one area of leadership, and it's really, really, really good. And there's all kinds of like awesome like quotes in here that are like boxed out that like you can share with your team. So like the bottom line of leadership isn't how far we advance ourselves, but how far we advance others. And there's like little bombs like that throughout this like entire book, like really powerful stuff that you can like share with your team. So that book helped me a lot. And then the next thing that I found has really helped my team grow, especially in like our volume and Success Club numbers and my Success Club base, is just figuring out how to properly motivate my leaders. Like really digging in with them and figuring out what their goals are and what they want to get out of this. And then I take it up like a notch. So like if I have people come to me and be like, I really just want to like cover our mortgage payment, or I'd really like to give up like my part-time job, or, whatever their goal is. I want to make $1,000 a month. I'm like, okay, well, we can do that. Like we can make that happen. But then I take it up like a notch. Like my one girlfriend just, was coming in close on the point where she was going to be able to cover her mortgage. And I was like, what if we could cover your mortgage and like your private school, like tuition payments? Like, what would that mean for you? So like, I always kind of like add a little something extra onto it. Cause I'm like, why are you selling yourself short? Like, don't stop there. Like, we're going to really like take this and kind of run with it. And then that usually like excites them. They're like, you know what, you're right. Like I can do all that, like, and then some. So that helps. And then in order to help keep them motivated towards doing that, I found that like the best thing I can do as a leader is make sure that I'm modeling the behavior that I expect of them. So I hit Success Club every single month. Like it is my absolute like non-negotiable. And if you're not like modeling that behavior, that kind of behavior, and like a power hour and like the daily activities that we are supposed to be doing as coaches, like if you're not modeling that yourself, then you have no right to be motivating and mentoring others. Like you just don't. And that's why we have all these Emerald coaches that like just sign people on, and then those coaches go nowhere underneath them because they're not modeling the right daily behaviors to then turn around and like mentor the people that they're bringing underneath them. So they're not setting that expectation. They're not leading by that example. So, I tell my diamond coaches all the time, like the very best thing that you can do for your business is to make sure that you are leading by example. So what I do to do that is at 6 a.m. every day, I do a live power hour, and it's just like a study hall. So I've done live power hours before on our team calls, where I've gone into screen share and literally showed them my power hour all the way down to who I'm messaging, where I'm clicking, the lists that I'm making, all that good stuff. Like I show them how to power hour, and it's like a YouTube link in my team page that they can go back and revisit anytime. I actually have a coach that plays it and uses it as like her cues to like work through hers. But what I've started doing is every morning at 6 a.m., I have a Zoom link in the file section of my team page. And I hop on and I mute everyone's lines. I literally type good morning in the chat, and it's strictly for accountability purposes. Like before I go to bed at night, I'll pop in the team page and say, see you girls tomorrow morning. 6 a.m. bright and early. We're all in there with like coffee, pajamas, kids eating breakfast. Like it's crazy. But we don't talk. It's strictly for accountability. It's like study hall. I mute the lines. I say good morning. And at 7 p.m., I say, have a great day, guys. Talk to you later. And I get about 10 or 11 people on like every morning, which some of them are PS coaches, some of them aren't, but they know that I'm doing it every day. And they know what I'm doing. They know I'm getting out my business activity tracker, which I have right here. My son has colored all over it, and there's heart stickers on it that I did not put there. Like this is like what I work off of. And I just show them that like it's that simple, and I get it done every day. And then I'll tag coaches too that we're missing that are normally on in the morning. And then I'll tag coaches that got on like 5 days that week. Like I'll keep track of like who's getting on. And surprise, surprise, the coaches that get on every day are the ones that have Success Club by like the 10th of the month. So I give them like the shout out for that. So a while back now, and this is kind of like backtracking, something that I struggled with was I really think that like, you have your whole team of coaches, and we have like big teams now. It was getting very hard for me to figure out who to give extra attention to, like who to like mentor, like more like one-on-one or in like the smaller group threads and stuff, like who deserves more of my time, because my time is getting like, it's just condensing. Like it's just, I'm getting spread in like a million different directions between all the calls and the trainings and my family and everything. So I was really struggling with that. And I work with actually a mentor from the John Maxwell team. I pay him for like one-on-ones. And he told me to go through my entire downline and put little check marks next to like these 4 different like gauges as to whether or not they deserve my time and attention. And the first one is like, are they producing? Like, do they produce? Like, they don't have to necessarily like hit Success Club 15 every month. Like that's not like the definition of producing, but are they hitting like 2, 4, 6? Like, are they trying? Are they selling challenge packs? Do they have recurring Shakeology orders? Do they have a coach or 2 signed up underneath them? Like are they someone who shows up and like does a decent amount of work? If they do that, they get a check mark. The next is, do they have a high activity level? So like when you go into the team page, do people know who the hell they are? Like, are they someone who shows up every day, like in the challenge groups and in the team page? Like, if my coach, if she were to say like, hey, do you guys know Megan Sayani? They'd be like, oh yeah, we know Megan Sayani. She's in Team Rock Nation. Like, isn't it mean that like people will recognize? Like, do they participate? The next one is, do they practice the 3 vital behaviors? Like, are they doing new programs when they come out? Like, are they going to rock out Insanity Max 30 next month because it's our sale program this month? So they're talking about how they're going to start Max. Like, are they following along and doing the 3 vital behaviors? And then the next one is, how is their attitude? Is it always full of excuses? Because we all have those coaches who are like, yeah, I'm trying, but like I work and I have kids. So it's just hard. So time is really hard for me, and I haven't been like getting my workouts in. So like you have those coaches that like meet you with excuses. You're like, hey, how's it going? And they're like, well, I'm just really tired. I'm nursing and my kid doesn't sleep through the night. And I'm like, okay, my kid wasn't sleeping through the night when I was a coach. So like all I'm hearing is excuses kind of thing. It's another thing to have someone come to you and say, like, I had a coach come to me who had just had a baby, and she was like, okay, I'm struggling, so I need to figure out how to do this better. And we like walked through that, and we like eliminated a bunch of crap that she didn't need to be doing, and like streamlined it, and like got her focused on just like her power hour and the time of day she was going to do it. So like that wasn't necessarily like an excuse. That was like, I'm struggling with something, I need you to help me work through it. But if it's just like I'm making excuses for not doing it and I don't really care to, then like they probably shouldn't be getting a whole bunch of your attention, because you can't motivate people out of like the excuses that they're making for themselves. Like it's got to start with them wanting it for themselves to some degree. And then, like I said, you can kind of like cast the vision and take it up a notch for them. But like, are they producing? Do they have a high activity level? Do they practice the 3 vital behaviors? And do they have a good attitude? Like if you don't have those 4 things, like I'm not going to force you through this. I'm not going to do it for you. Like I don't have time for that anymore. There was a time that I would have, and those coaches aren't successful. Like they're not in it for the right reasons. If they're not doing these things, they're not in it for the right reasons. So there's that. Let me think. I took a bunch of notes. So basically I went through my whole team and I made a list of rock stars and I put them all in a thread. And I just check in with them and like ask them how they're doing. Yeah, so John Maxwell actually says you can't fix a problem that you can't admit you have. So like with our coaches, like if they can't admit that like they're having an issue with something and they're just making excuses for themselves, we're not going to be able to help them. What else did I want to say? Something that I was considering doing, and so here's where I fail. I don't get like my diamond coaches to do enough, in the sense that like I don't ask them to do like team calls and stuff like that. And I know that I need to get them to do that more, and I know that they're not going to learn until they start to do it more, because I never was someone who was like fantastic at them in the beginning. But I'm also someone who doesn't really have fear, and I know that my coaches aren't fantastic at them but also have fear, so they have that fear of failing. So that's where I'm very different than them, and I think I forget about that sometimes. But I don't ask them to do enough. I have a decent amount of them doing like coach opportunity calls, but not enough like team calls, like leadership roles where they feel like special. And honestly, it's because sometimes when they get on there and they start sharing stuff, I'll like cringe a little bit and I'm like, no, I wouldn't have said that, or I wouldn't have done that. And it's kind of like a control freak thing for me, and I really need to get over that. So what I was thinking, because my favorite part of this business is pouring back into my team. It's not the challenge groups. It's not the physical transformations anymore. It's like really like that's why I'm on like the market council and like this kind of stuff. What makes me happy is like teaching and training and the call. Like that's what fires me up. Like when I can do a Zoom call and I can see like the light bulbs going off on like 10, 11, 12 people on a call because I'm giving them like stuff that they're going to use to move their business forward. That fires me up. Like that's what I really enjoy most about coaching. So then like if I give it away to them, I'm like taking it away from myself. So it's kind of like a selfish thing that I've been doing lately. But what I was thinking about doing is like a coach of the week, where I would like nominate someone. And now that we can go live on Facebook, it is so easy to ask people to just do like a video or like speak real quick. And it can be like really off the cuff. But I was thinking about having like a coach of the week that I'll nominate and like announce on maybe like Friday night or something, and having them go live for just a couple minutes every day the following week, like Monday through Friday. And they can do it like whatever time works for them, but they can just drop like their knowledge on like different topics throughout the week. You know, they can talk about like their challenge groups or their inviting, or like I could like assign like a template of like topics. I mean, I guess I would have to like work them out, but I was thinking that might be a way for them to like step up, start speaking more, feel special. I mean, you could start with like my diamond coaches and just like start moving down the line to like my emeralds and then flip it back through. Another thing, and I was actually just talking to my coach on the phone, I hung up with her to hop on here, is I think a lot of times coaches go diamond and they think like, okay, I've made it. I need a team page and I need a coach basics program and I need to have a weekly team call and I need to do this and I need to do that. And I'm like, that's an awful lot of work for just having 2 people underneath you. Like you figure diamond is like you and 2 other people that are actually like working the business. The rest are usually just discount coaches. So to put all that on your plate for 2 people just seems kind of silly, especially like my team where you have like a star diamond upline that you can be more reliant on. So I think that what ends up happening is like a lot of coaches go diamond and a lot of teams are structured in a way where they like feel like they need to like run these like teams now, like the same way their coach does. But I think that causes like overwhelm. And I also think it causes confusion because now we have like all these coaches who are in like all these different groups and all these different team pages and all these different challenges and trainings and calls. And they're like, where am I going and what am I doing? Like, it's like the Wizard of Oz. They're like, oh, we're going this way. So I encourage my team not to do that kind of stuff right away. Like I have a 2-star diamond coach who has a thriving team page because she had a lot of motivated coaches underneath her. She probably has like an SC base of like 10 right now. So for her, it made sense. But then I have like other diamond coaches who can barely hold their rank. And I'm like, why do you want to start a team page? I'm just curious. Like, let's talk through this. Like, why? Why? Because you're going to have to post in it every day. And then you're not going to have the engagement that you want to have. And then you're going to get frustrated. And then, you know, it's just not all that great. Like really right now, what you need to focus on is your 2 people and making sure they hit success goals every month. And that's really it. And then whatever trainings we run, you can put them into that kind of thing. And I think that helps because I think a lot of times coaches will go diamond and they're like, I have made it. Like I have a team. I am a diamond coach. And I'm like, not that I don't want to like deflate that for them, but I don't want them going out and doing so much extra stuff that they just don't need to be doing when really what they should be focusing on is continuing to grow that team and recruiting and inviting and the power hour times 10 and just doing it over and over and over and making sure, like I said at the beginning, that they're properly mentoring those 2 people that they have underneath them to do the same. And that's not going to be done in like a team page type setting, you know? That's going to be done more in like one-on-ones and calls like this and stuff like that. So I think my son's getting up. So that's kind of all I had that I could kind of pull together on a topic that I feel like I suck at.
Well, I thought that was phenomenal. And I would love to get thoughts from Christy and Jason as well. And if there's time, I'll share my thoughts, but I definitely want to get Christy and Jason involved either with questions or comments on building leaders. Christy, let's have you go first. What are your thoughts?
Okay. I wanted to make sure I was unmuted. Thanks, Megan. That was great. Especially for pulling it together so fast, but I had no doubt you'd be awesome anyway. So I've done some work with Megan's Maxwell consultant as well. And I think he's phenomenal and he's really helped me grow a lot. And so some of the stuff that she was talking about, I was familiar with, but it just continues to reinforce what I know is true and what I follow, especially like you said, Megan, like as you grow, finding the right people to give your time to, because I do think it does get hard. I also 100% agree. And I am lucky enough that none of my diamonds want to, like some of them have like their own small team pages, but we still do everything overall together as a team. And they're all very helpful. I started delegating a while back, and they're all very helpful to me. So they do run team calls. They do run live power hours. They do run sneak peeks. And we really split the responsibility of having a bigger team. I don't have an upline at all. So that was, it has been super helpful for me to have them take responsibility and help me. And I don't think they would have it any other way, actually. But I agree. I don't think anybody really needs to do that unless they have to, like I did, until they're really ready, until they have a much, much bigger team. I love the idea of Coach of the Week. I had been contemplating it, but I was trying to figure out what to do with it. And I think, like you said, Facebook Live would really be a good idea of how, and it's so easy.
I love Facebook Live.
I do too. I need to start using it more.
Yeah, it's good in my challenge groups too. And I think coaches, especially are scared to do video, so this will help them more. And then this could help them get the confidence to start going live on their personal pages and their pages and stuff too.
It's true. It does. It's great practice for them. I totally agree. I think where I'm struggling as a leader right now, and I talked to Kevin a little bit about this the first time we talked one-on-one, is I'm in a place where I'm trying to automate my business more. And what I mean by that is I'm truly trying to run it as a business without using my personal profile at all. So I'm trying to actually create systems for myself where I'm running Facebook ads for them to opt into freemiums, and to where then they opt in and they get a series of autoresponders. And then I set a call with them about a potential challenge group, and that's how they become a customer. And then that's potentially how they become a coach. So I'm really, I'm in an interesting place with my own business. I'm working with a success coach, actually, ironically out of London, but she works with other network marketers, to help me automate my business due to just the way that, my schedule is, and having such little kids, and due to my husband's job. I can't be a coach that functions on zero sleep. I won't operate.
I won't either.
So I'm truly trying to get my place to a business where when I work, I'm working, and when I'm done, I'm done. Because, I've been a coach for a long time, and I'm sitting still at this 2-3 star, and it's driving me crazy. And I've been honest about this. I'm not willing to sacrifice like some other coaches are. And I'm totally okay with admitting that. So I'm now trying to work smarter and not harder. And so it's a struggle when you're trying to do that, yet your team isn't ready to do that yet. And so you can't say to your coaches, do all these things that I'm doing, right? Because they can't afford it.
I struggle with that too.
Oh, that's good to know.
Big time. Because my coaches are like, well, how do you do your inviting? And I'm like, well, my assistant helps me with that. It's
yes.
In my head. And then, but I don't want them to think that they have to have an assistant to get to where I am, because I didn't have one. You know what I mean? I didn't have one until I had a 6-figure income.
Well, and I don't even, and Megan, I've been watching you grow this past year, and you've sacrificed more than I have by far. I've seen it. I don't have even close to a 6-figure income. I'm not even still making $1,000 a week, which is driving me nuts. My income, is really, I'm struggling to grow. And it doesn't help me that I have zero volume, but I know you can build it without that, right? So I don't let that be an excuse. But I just hired an assistant because, like what you said, I have to be able to get to where I want to be. And I truly believe in Shalene's delegation models.
Yeah.
And I know it'll grow. But like you said, it's hard to tell your team these things. The only thing I can suggest, and I guess is what I do, is I just explain to them, this is where I was, and this is where I have come to now. And it took me a lot of hard work to get to this point, even though I'm not financially where I want to be. I've still moved my business along a lot.
Well, something that I found, so how we always say like on our social media, like we have to constantly be sharing our story, because as we add like our 2 to 5 friends daily, like we have to constantly like be sharing so that they can know where we came from, because nobody knows who I've added in 2016 that I was 52 pounds heavier. They didn't know me then.
Yeah.
You have to like constantly be revisiting that. I feel like you have to constantly revisit your coach story in your team page too, because as you're adding new coaches, like everyone looks at me as a stay-at-home mom, but really when I first got started, I was working full-time and my husband was laid off, and I was working at night till 4 o'clock in the morning. So people don't identify with that. People identify me as like the stay-at-home mom who has all this time.
Yeah. Even though we still don't have the time. Right. Exactly.
But, like I have to keep reminding them, like I really was struggling. Like I was in like a really bad place when I became a coach, and here's what I did wrong. Because I did a lot wrong. And like, here's what I do right now. I do a freaking power hour, and that's like it. And that's all you really need to do to be successful as well. And like I've been saying, like with the inviting, I'm like, yeah, I do send like 25 invites a day, but you don't need to. Like you can do 2 to 5. Like, unless you have super huge goals and you have the time and desire, then yeah, let's do this. Like I have coaches that do send, like my coach, Lindsay Stanford, almost dropped her 2-star diamond qualifying. So she sent 40 coach invites this week. But like, I would never tell a brand new coach to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll show you guys something I created. Here, let me put it in. Can you put a document in the chat, or maybe you can't?
Well, how about you? Can you put it on
the group page?
The group page.
Yeah, I'll just put it in there. I was going to show him, Kevin, that power hour sheet that I created.
Yeah, you can share your screen. Feel free to share your screen, but you can upload it to the group page.
Yeah, I'll upload it to the group page right now.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, so those are some of my thoughts. Hold on one second, honey. Those are some of my thoughts and some of my struggles. And I know some things I bring on myself. Like I'm more than willing to be like the person that kind of admits that. And but I feel like my drive has kicked back in over the last couple weeks. I was a little down, and Kevin's talk helped, and some other things helped. And by the way, Kevin, I did take your idea and start that coach only challenge group, and we have already 45 coaches in it. And that's
that's great.
Yeah, so, and they're pretty excited about it.
I do coach only challenge groups like all the time. They're a good volume booster.
Yeah, I never truthfully, never even would have thought about doing it. And I talked to him, and he's like, hey, because I just was telling him how everything had been down, and me included. And I'm like, I need a boost. And he gave me the idea from some of the other coaches that had done then. And I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. Like, duh.
Cool.
So
awesome.
So yeah.
Thank you.
There's my rambling.
I love it. Jason, let's get your thoughts on everything that's been said so far.
I definitely agree with the whole not pushing your coaches out and telling them to get do a team page and everything. I have not done that with my coaches. I tell them not to leave until they're ready, or that I see that they are ready and they're just kind of hanging back because they don't have that confidence. So really it's my 1-star diamonds that I've kind of pushed out just to start running their own challenge groups and to start running, talking to their coaches. And I tell them to take what I post and post it, but make sure that they're posting something daily in their team page as motivations. But yeah, no, I definitely like the coach of the week idea. My coaches definitely do not like to use video, whether it's making a video where you can like delete it or getting on live. I try and do challenges at least once a month to challenge them to get on live and talk about either a tip or inviting them to a challenge group or talking about like a live coach sneak peek. But it is something that like they'll say to me like, oh, I don't talk right. I have an accent. And I'm like, no one cares. They want to see your personality. So that's definitely something I like that I'm going to start implementing into my group so that they get used to posting a video. It's just us coaches, so no one else is going to see it, but hopefully it'll spark something for them.
I love that idea. And Jason, I don't know if you have additional things before I give my thoughts.
No, you're good.
I don't mean to cut you off here, but this idea, I think this is kind of a circling idea of how we can get our team to become leaders. And actually, I'm putting together a presentation. I don't know if you guys saw, Jeff Matthewson put out there a little sign up for a half hour with our time, and then we'll talk to some of your teams. And so I've been working on some of the presentations for that, and so many of them are about how can I become a leader and how can I help my team become better leaders. And it's this idea of a coach of the week is a killer idea. I love that idea. Just so you know, and Megan, this is kind of my comment to you of that's exactly what we're doing on this mastermind. We're doing a coach of the week, and guess what? You're it this week, and I gave you a topic you didn't want to talk about, and you did a killer job.
Right. That's funny.
That's exactly what needs to happen with your guys' groups. You guys need to get them. They gotta, Jason, like this whole getting outside their comfort zone. That's how you become a leader. You got to do hard things, and what's hard to me isn't hard to you. But what's hard to these coaches is that they're not used to showing before and after pictures. They're not used to going live. They're not used to seeing their face out there, and they're not comfortable talking about certain topics. The only way to get better is to do it. And the only way you can do that is to help them, assign them a topic, give them just kind of what we did. What's your strength? Where's your weaknesses? Guess what? We're going to have you teach on your weakness, just like we're doing with this mastermind call. And this is a perfect example. What just happened here on this call? We will all chip in. You're not alone. If you have a question, you're like, you know what? I actually don't know much about this, but I'm willing to lead the discussion. I'm willing to get your guys' thoughts, and everybody will jump in. But I thought it was funny how, Megan, how you mentioned that. That's how you build leaders. You let them lead. Yes, it's hard to let go. Yes, you want to be in charge of everything because that's just how you guys are. The coaches I work with, y'all have very similar personalities where you have built this empire, and gosh dang it, you're not going to let go of any bricks. I mean, you're going to hold on to what you have built. Awesome, that's fine. But what needs to happen if you're going to build leaders, if you're going to move on to be with Jeff, the 6 to 15 star, I promise you're going to have to let go. You're going to have to let leaders lead. And so what I'm doing, this presentation I'm putting together, if I can give you just a snippet, is I'm having them think about their corporate job that they've had at some point in their life. You know, when you can get a job at 16 or even before to now, you have to think about your boss. You have to think about the boss that you loved working for and a boss you didn't like working for. And you have to write down a list of what made that boss awesome, what made that boss not so awesome. And guess what? The things that made that boss awesome, you got to do. Because you got to be the awesome boss to everybody else. You can't be that person that pushes numbers, that pushes success club, that pushes. You can't be that boss. You just think about the bosses that you've had. Any boss that comes over and leans over your shoulder and says, hey, I need you to hit your numbers this week or month, not your favorite boss, I promise you. But the boss that came over, sat down with you, found out how you're doing, found out your strengths, your weaknesses, and worked with you to improve. And yeah, they stretched you. They made you do hard things, but that you improved because of that. That's the boss you want to be. You know what I'm saying?
Something else that just came to mind as far as like a coach of the week, I think that their first assignment, or their first topic on Monday should be to just kind of like share their story. Because like I was saying, like right now I have the 170 coaches in my team page who see me as a stay-at-home mom with a 2-year-old. But like I have teachers that are coaches. I have nurses that are coaches. I have people that don't have kids that are coaches. So like, excuse me, it'll help the rest of the team to identify with people other than just myself. And then make them more comfortable with sharing their story publicly on social media.
Hey, Megan, how many people do you have in your downline, like your specific downline right now?
Log into my Coach Online office?
Yeah.
I think today it was like 478.
478? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just was trying to get an idea because I have like 205. And I just was trying to get an idea for income purposes, like how it builds potentially. Now, obviously, some people can be rock solid volume people,
How
but
many of them sell, because I don't put discount coaches in my team page. I don't want it. I don't want
yeah.
it. So I can tell you how many are in my team page right now, because and I go through and I will delete you. Like, there's 177. So out of 478 minus 177, that's how many are discounted.
Yeah, but that's pretty impressive to have that many active coaches doing something.
Yeah.
Because I mean, gosh, if I looked at the 200 of my team that are actually doing something, I don't even want to know what that number is right now. It's ugly. So no, it's just good to know. And I think it's a good reference point, because I don't have anyone to compare with, like, and I don't mean compare as in compare, because I don't like comparison, but I mean to share.
That is a good reference.
No. And that's what this group is for, guys. This is not a comparison group in any sense of the way. What this is, and I like this, and I use this a lot with my coaches as well, it's realizing the gap is smaller than we think it is. And the more we're informed, the more transparent we are, the better everybody comes out in the end. So
yeah, it's cool. Thanks.
We do need to end this call. Megan, that was such a fun topic. I'm so proud of you. Great job. And to Chrissy and Jason, great job for chipping in, guys. This is exactly what the mastermind group needs to be. Now remember, the assignment, even for you, Megan, take something you've learned today, go to our Facebook page, post what you're going to do this week, and next week I want you guys to report on how the week went so that we can all grow together. This is an accountability thing. This is making you become leaders. This is what I'm trying to do with you guys. You are leaders. It's helping you become even more leaders. This is what needs to happen. Things need to be, we're inspired. We can't just get off this call and go back to our regular lives. Let's post as soon as we can. Megan, thank you so much for stepping up to the plate. Great job. Everybody for showing up. It was awesome to talk to you guys. We will see you next week.
Bye, guys.